Rip it in. High five. Oh, good boy. This is my good boy. Alrighty guys, here we are. We're going to do it again. We are here for another Full Sail experience for the Computer Animation Degree Program from Full Sail University. And this is for the class Technical Animation. So timestamps are up here. We're going to talk about class information, the assignments, the teacher, some tips, and in short, we're going to get on out of here. Okay, so let's friggin' do this. So, class information about technical animations. What was I really expecting going into this class? Technical animation, I thought we would, like any other animation class, gonna get a rigged character. We're just gonna animate them real quick, doing a scene or something, and then go super fine-tune and like create a super in-depth technical animation. Maybe add something that we haven't yet done. Maybe this character would have clothing and not just like painted on clothing, like the cool rig or whatever. That was not exactly what happened in this class, near nothing what I predicted happened in this class. Technical animation was much closer to a rigging class than it was to an animation class. So let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, so throughout the month you're working on like one project, right? Like a lot of other classes have been this far. You're gonna have little assignments sprinkled in throughout. There are 11 assignments total. Yeah, that's pretty much that. It's in the podcast style, so there's not like a 3-hour long lecture you gotta watch and then you do your assignment. You follow along with the podcast, do them as you're being shown, and all will be awesome sauceum. Of course, the podcast won't show you everything, but it'll show you a good portion, and it'll show you what to do for each step. Like step 1, it'll show you like a 6-minute demonstration, and then you gotta spend 40 minutes on it. Step 2, another little demonstration, you spend more minutes on it. So it's like that, podcast style. And yeah, let's see, 11 assignments. You're in Maya, and it's much more of a rigging class than it is an animation class. It's also animation, don't let me confuse you. It's like a mix of the both. If I were to say one last thing about the class, before I start talking about the actual assignments, it feels more like live action movie kind of digital art, which I didn't know we were gonna do. I thought we were gonna stick with more like the Disney cartoon, Pixar style. No, this feels like what you would do if you worked for like Marvel Studios and you were animating the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo and all that. So it feels like that's what you're doing, even though it's not specifically said. I feel like this is the process that they take for a project like that, for a character like that. You're not really animating, you are taking a mocap data, someone wore a suit with all the dots, and you're gonna apply that mocap to this troll character and make it work. Like I said, more rigging than animation. You are doing animation, but it feels like the kind of rigging / animation you do for a mocap character like the Hulk, rather than regular rigging for Elsa or something like that. So that's a very generalized statement about this class. Now let's start talking about the actual weeks and the assignments and stuff like that. Okay, so week 1, incredibly easy. Maybe the easiest week I've ever had at Full Sail. So in week 1, there was a discussion and your assignment. The assignment was to correctly apply your mocap data to your character and pick your camera angle. You create a camera, pick your camera angle. That's it. You're like, whoa, that's like a super easy assignment. All you have to do is play blast it and send it in with your Maya scene. What the heck is going on? The assignment's only worth 3% of your grade, so that's why it's so super easy and such a light assignment. I only spent 71 minutes on it. I probably could have done it in a shorter amount of time if I would have went, ham, as they say. Really friggin' easy assignment. He makes the first week super easy so that you can jump into week 2 ahead of time and start working on that, because week 2 is a bit more time consuming. And then you have a discussion. Now, the discussions for the first 2 weeks were really kind of interesting, and it's because it's over something that we as students, or at least the majority of us, know. He gives you a link, and I assume this link will probably change for each month. It might not, it might, I'm not sure. You guys let me know. But there's a link to a trailer for a movie, and it says pick a character from the trailer and discuss what you think you would need to rig for this character. So I clicked the link, and it's the Wreck-It Ralph trailer from 2015, came out 2016-ish. I'm not sure on those dates, but I think I'm right. So I got to this assignment not late, but one of the last ones to do it. And when a character's taken, you can't do it again. So someone took Wreck-It Ralph, someone took, you know, all the big ones. So I got Gene. You know, Gene's cool. I mean, cool enough anyway. I was like, I think he'll just need a normal human kind of rig, probably IK, and pretty generic statements. If you're not exactly sure what to say, because this is only our second rigging class, maybe just wait till a few other people have posted and be like reading through theirs, and then maybe it'll remind you of things. Be like, oh yeah, I can talk about this and this and this, you know, stuff like that. And that's your week one. My entire week one, I spent 101 minutes, less than 2 hours. I was done with week one by Friday at 11:28 in the morning. I mean, I started Friday at like 9-ish. So I took a break, came back, finished it up. I was like, wow, that was super easy. Your week one is super short so that you can spend more time on week two, which I didn't start week two till like Wednesday of week two. Didn't properly utilize all of my time, but still came out all right. Okay, so for week one, I got 100. I feel like most people are gonna get a 100 in this week just because it's so easy, so simple, and your entire week is only worth 5% of your grade. So I feel like you should be good in this week. Week two, moving on. This is binding week. You have a discussion and your project. We'll get the discussion out of the way. So for your discussion, you have to use the same character from the week prior, so I used Gene again, and you have to discuss advanced rigging topics. Like, what can you do to help finalize this character? I talked about a muscle system. I had never learned anything about a muscle system, so I just went to YouTube and watched a video of some guy making a muscle system on a dog's leg, and I was like, you know, Gene, he's got a bit of fat around the neck. Throw a muscle in there, let it jiggle when he moves, and it'll help it look more realistic and finalized. That's pretty much all I did. Moving on to the assignment, binding and pose fixing. Now this one is a very time-consuming project. I spent 863 minutes on it. 10 hours is 600 minutes, so I don't even know what that comes out to. Over 10 hours. What it is really, okay, you weight paint, you block out your weights, you know, when the arm is like this, you make it completely white around each joint, and then you smooth it so that your character looks somewhat nice and weighted. Then you're gonna add animation layers to fix proportions, and then corrective blend shapes are what are gonna take the most amount of time. For me anyway. Let me explain how it could be different. In terms of weight painting, I did not spend 100% of my effort on the weight painting. I was like, yeah, it looks good. I'm just trying to get through this because I'm like, this is a lot to go through. I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And honestly, he said, I'm not even gonna open up your Myosine unless something looks weird with your play blast and I need to go investigate. So as long as your play blast looks fine, he's not gonna look at your Myosine. Make it look good from your camera angle. That's what I'm saying. So corrective blend shapes, if like your arm looks good like this and all the way down, when he gets here, if there's like a weird pokey thing coming out, you use a corrective blend shape, make a clean body version of your troll, smooth it out, and let it play for just those few frames, because corrective blend shapes not only work, but they're meant to be used for correcting a body part for a certain number of frames, and then you can like have it fade in and fade out. You animate the corrective blend shape. The professor does an awful lot better job at explaining it than I did. Don't worry about being confused about it because he explains it well. I'm just saying it's a long process. I think I made near 60 corrective blend shapes. Maybe that's because I didn't spend so much time on my weighting. Maybe if you spend more time weighting, you have to make less. But the corrective blend shapes really slowed down the operating system, whatever, of my computer while I had the Maya open. So like I can go to smooth something for a new corrective blend shape, and I've got to wait a minute for Maya to catch up and actually smooth it. Definitely don't be waiting to the last minute on this, and if you can start during week one, what I would recommend, honestly, try to knock out your week one on Monday. Take maybe Tuesday off, and then start working on your corrective blend shapes Wednesday or Thursday of week one. That way you have all that time for week one and week two to knock this out. I got a 95. That's not bad. I was told I need to smooth my neck and my chest, and I did that in week three. So for week two, I spent 939 minutes total. 863 on the project though. And this assignment is worth 25% of your grade. So it's like week one's worth 3%, this week is 25%. You should expect more work to be put in week two. Moving on to week three, enhancements. Again, you have a discussion and a project. I noticed that about this class, so many classes are like, you've got your main project, but we're gonna give you like 5 little assignments and a discussion to do. You know, some warm-ups and stuff like that. And I'm like, frick, I just want to do my assignment. Let me learn while I'm doing my assignment. That's what I really like about this class. It's very straightforward. Of course, you do have your discussion, but you don't get a whole bunch of extra junk to do. Now, in the podcast, he does stray away from the troll a little bit and demonstrates on something else, but that's not an assignment you have to turn in. That's not a warm-up you have to do. That's just watch him, follow along if you want, and take notes. I really did like that about this class. Not a whole bunch of extra junk. You do your discussion, and then you can work on your project until the cows come home on Sunday at midnight. Alrighty, discussion. Week 3, jiggle. Jiggle systems, pretty much. Using your same character. I use Gene again, and you discuss where jiggle systems can be placed. Again, I was like, the neck, you know what? Maybe the arms and the stomach, because they're more round, maybe a little bit of jiggle will help it look less like an object and more like character. So, very simple. All of these discussions are very easy. And then your project, this one's worth 7% of your overall grade, so I was like, it's not going to be as heavy as week 2, but I should expect more work than I put in week 1. The enhancements were actually really cool. Forewarning, they super slowed down the operating system, and even making a play blast took a while, like 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe that's a combination of what we're doing in week 3 and all my corrective blend shapes. Your times may vary. So week 3 enhancements, you're learning in cloth and in hair. Friggin' awesome. This is the 3rd method of hair creation that we've learned in the past 2 classes, which is really awesome because going into the last class, production modeling, I was like, when are we gonna learn hair? And now we've learned 3 different ways in 8 weeks. It's really cool. But anyway, let's talk about in cloth first, because that's the first thing you work on. In cloth, really cool. He goes through about 4 videos showing you different things about in cloth and how to manipulate gravity and wind and how you can just play along with it. It's really cool. And then you apply in cloth to the loincloth of your troll guy. It's very cool. He applies it to the front loincloth. I applied it to the front and back. The back one you can choose to use an in-hair system. Now the in-hair system, in-hair joint system, you have some options here. He used in-cloth for the front loincloth, and then he showed that you can use the in-hair joint system for the back loincloth. I did in-cloth for both loincloths. That was really difficult to say. And then I just applied hair to the top of the troll. Now, with both of these, I was having difficulty with the in cloth and in hair going through the main character. Like the cloth was going through his leg, the hair was going through his head. So with the cloth, I created passive colliders, which you're gonna learn about, something that the in cloth can interact with, and then I hid them. That way, it looks good on my camera, and sure, it's not completely super 100% accurate because maybe that sphere really isn't there because it's not, but it prevented the cloth from going through the leg. Like leg, cloth was going through, so I created a ball right here, boom. That way the cloth just kind of wrapped around the ball and it looked like it was around the leg, and then I hid the ball. So your passive collider does not need to be present in your viewport or your camera or whatever for your in cloth to interact with it. Really cool. That's a little tip for you. The in hair, I created in hair like 4 different times. Every time it kept going through the head, through the scalp. I even made the entire body a passive collider, and it still went through for some reason. So what I ended up doing was just giving him a mohawk. I'm like, mohawk, I can change the, I'm blanking on the word, but I'm just gonna call it intensity, how bendable it is and everything. I made it pretty dang stiff so it's not like falling over or anything. That way it doesn't have a chance to go through the head. That's about it. With your end cloth, you're gonna have to kick up your gravity an awful lot. I think I put my gravity at like 5,000 when it's originally 9.8, just like Earth. As long as it looks good on camera, it doesn't have to be real, because this troll guy isn't real. Why should the gravity be real? You're gonna learn a lot. Week 3 is fun. Week 3 was worth 7% of your grade. I got a 100, and I spent 988 minutes. It's a decent amount of time. Really slows down your system too, so keep that in mind. Now week 4, as we move into this last little section, week 4 did have the most extra things to do. You had a discussion, normal. You had your project, normal. And then you had another project called scripting, and then like a Word doc assignment, a writing assignment, research, but it was for a job. So it wasn't super heavy or anything like that. It's fairly easy. So let's talk about it. We'll talk about the job thing first. Job thing, you're gonna look for a job in a technical animation rigging area and just write about it, make some comparisons to this class and to other jobs, and qualifications you learned from this class, qualifications that you can't say that you have yet, and just learn a bit more about this career in the industry. It's cool. And then we will talk about scripting the project. This one was worth 15% of your grade. Going through the videos, the podcast, I was like, wow, this is super. It's not difficult, but complicated to say the least. And it's all about creating your own interfaces and your own buttons and stuff like that. And I took down a bunch of notes, and I'm like, I might create my own scripts at some point, but I have no idea if I really will. So I've got the notes in case I want to, but it's a very complicated process. Honestly, you can go to Google or wherever really and download Python scripts that someone else has made, import them into your Maya folders in your computer. You can import their scripts and use their interfaces. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the discussion, which is also about scripting. It gives you a link to a website, but the link just doesn't work. It tells you to like look up scripts that help finalize the rig and stuff like that. And looking at this, I was like, okay, so is this about Gene from Wreck-It Ralph, or is this about the Cave Troll, the main project we've been working on? And I went to the discussion to see what everyone else went with, and it looks like the general consensus was the Cave Troll. Now, I don't know what the right answer is because it's not graded yet, but it seems like everyone did something about the Cave Troll, so I would assume that's probably it. But you just look up scripts, help you finalize the rig. I talked about, it was a script for a GUI for the face, a little control box that comes up, and it just helps you create controls. Of course, it doesn't link it to your face, you have to do that, but at least the controls are made. So that's the discussion. Now, let's talk about the final shot, which is your project. Now, going into this, there are no podcasts that you need to look at or watch or anything. It literally says, in this phase, we'll be grading based off of artistic quality of the overall project. And this is worth 30% of your grade. So what I'm thinking that they're doing is, like here is the breakdown, 35 points for motion and bind, which was week 1, 25 for corrective blend shapes, 20 for end cloth, and 20 for end hair. So what I did was I looked at my turn-in for last week because that was the most recent, and I was like, okay, self-critique, what can I improve on? And I was like, I got a 100 on my end hair and end cloth, I got a 100 on my motion and bind, and then I got a 95 on my corrective blend shapes, but I fixed it in week 3. So what is there to do? And I noticed a little part where the end cloth went through the leg, so I added a corrective blend shape, but after that I didn't do anything. I was like, I'm stressing myself out, wondering what I can improve on. Now granted, I'm sure there are many things I can improve on, but I couldn't find anything. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just play blast this with my one change from week 3 and turn it in for 30% of my overall grade. I feel like weeks 1, 2, and 3 are like, okay, let's teach you something, we'll grade you at a very low percentage, and then use all of your feedback to make a good project in the very end, like it's back weighted, right? So I feel like that's what's going on here, but I got a 100 week 1, 95 in week 2, which I fixed, and then 100 week 3, so I was like, do I need to do anything? And then that's where I was like stressing myself out, right? But I went ahead and just turned it in with my one fix. Hopefully that's what he's looking for, and I was just gonna go from there, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going from there. And that wraps up the assignment. So we're gonna move into a little talking about the teacher. So the teacher, what can I say about him? You have the same teacher for weeks 1, 2, and 3, and then week 4 it switches to someone who's more technical. It seems like knows more about scripting, which happens to be the same teacher from the rigging class that we took last year around this time, maybe like 10 months ago. So that's cool. The teacher for weeks 1, 2, and 3, he's friggin' awesome. Like, he would constantly be like, yay, are you impressed, when like nothing super impressive happened. And he just added some more, you know, like life to the class. We're like, okay, yeah, we bind the skin to the rig and now it's all choppy when it moves, but at least it moves. And he's like, yay, and stuff like that. And he's a fun teacher. You're really gonna like him. I really enjoyed him. And then the teacher from 10 months ago that teaches in week 4 the scripting, there's nothing bad to say. He's knowledgeable on the scripts, and that's about it. So yeah, that's all I can say about teachers. You shouldn't have any problems. They're great, and let's move on to tips. Tips, what can I say? I already touched upon one of them in the assignments portion, but try to knock out your week 1 as fast as possible. That way you can start on week 2. If anything, you're gonna get the feedback from week 1 saying either camera angle looks great, or you're gonna get try changing your camera angle. And if anything, that's not gonna really affect you much for your week 2. If anything, you may have to do more corrective blend shapes than you anticipated, but if you spend more time on your weights than I did, you're probably gonna be fine. That leads into this one: spend more time on your weights, then maybe you won't have to spend as much time on your corrective blend shapes. That's a theory of mine that I'm rolling with, because I didn't spend a ton of time on weights, and I did about 60 corrective blend shapes. Use that information how you will. Another tip for week 3, I guess we're just going in order. Week 3 tip: the in cloth and in hair will severely slow down your Maya, or at least it did for me. Try to get started early, because you're gonna be waiting a little bit longer for your play blast to, play blast. It's just gonna be a lot of waiting in the sense of time and not weight painting. And then going on from there, that's about it, really. I guess I forgot to tell you my week 4 time. Week 4, I spent 429 minutes, which means for a month, I spent 2,457 minutes, which comes out to a total of 40 hours and 57 minutes. That's my total for the month. So really not bad month. Back into tips, that's about it, really. If you want to get a good character, jump into your discussions early. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuck with a gene. But other than that, I've got nothing for you in the world of tips, so let's jump into an in short and we'll get out of here. Wait, I'm gonna talk about one thing after an in short that ties into graduation. So in short, what do you have for this month? You have 11 assignments in Maya. The class is called Technical Animation, but it's a bit of a mix of animation and rigging. Week 1, Human IK. Super easy. It's worth 3% of your grade. The entire week's worth 5% of your grade. Super easy. Shouldn't spend more than 2 hours on it probably. Week 2, Binding, Weight Painting, Smoothing, Corrective Blend Shapes. It's worth 27% of your overall grade the entire week is, and it's going to slow down your computer if you do as many corrective blend shapes as I did. It's going to take you a long time, so just start early. Week 3 is enhancements. You finally learn cloth and hair. I believe there was a chance to learn in cloth way back, like Project and Portfolio 1. I remember seeing it at some point, but I didn't get to learn it because it was like an extra video. But now you get to learn it here. That's cool. And you get to learn how to manipulate gravity and wind, and it's just friggin' awesome. You're really gonna enjoy this week. Week 4, scripting. It's very technical. It is a very computer code kind of week. I personally started to get a little bored with it, but maybe you won't. It's just coding isn't exactly my cup of tea. I don't know. I think I will just download scripts, or maybe I will get super into it one day and make my own scripts. And then you're gonna have a fun teacher. You're gonna create something along the lines of this. So look forward to that. You're gonna have an enjoyable class experience. You should expect around 40-ish hours throughout your entire month spent in this class. Expect your heaviest week to be either week 2 or week 3, just depending. Weeks 1 and 4 should be fairly easy. So start easy, end easy. There you go. And that's pretty much it for technical animation, guys. Real quick, the graduation launch page starts when you start this class, or at least it did for me. I am now 2 months away from graduation, but when I started this class I was 3 months away, so just expect your graduation launch page to come up 3 months away from graduation. If that happens to be this class, great. I feel like it should, because I don't know why it wouldn't. And all you have to do during this month, turn in like a graduation form saying, are you gonna be there, are you not gonna be there, spell your name and all that junk. And then there's another thing, it's like conclusion, to let them know that you have gone through the graduation stuff. Those are the only 2 things due this month, and that is pretty much it for graduation stuff. There will be more due next month and more due the following month, and then you graduate. Look at that. That's exciting. Goodness. It's just like, feels like yesterday I was like month 5, and here we are moving into month 25. That is friggin' crazy. Holy goodness. Yeah, let's do it. Month 25, I believe, is Project and Portfolio 6, and then month 26, Project and Portfolio 7, and then we're gone. It's like, whoa. But that's not the end. That is most certainly not the end. That is the beginning, because then you don't have to be like, oh, I gotta stop my own project to go work on this troll. Nope. Boom. We start working on our own stuff. We're gonna make shorts, not like clothing shorts, probably some clothing shorts, short films. Holy goodness. And I can confidently say, and I'm sure a lot of you can at this point too, that I can model, I can texture, and I can make things look real. And that's just a great feeling that I didn't have 24 months ago. So that's just me being a little retrospective right now. And holy cow, it's gonna be really friggin' retrospective in 2 months. That's future perspective. Anyway, that is it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Question: do you prefer, I guess, rigging or animation? And if you're a modeler, still pick one of those two. Because this class is a little bit of mix of both, and yeah, you're gonna have to do a little bit of both here. I guess that is the question, and I'm gonna leave you guys with that. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. If you would please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. See you guys later.